Okay, let's dive in. We're opening up Jeremiah chapter 49 today.
Right. A really dense chapter.
Yeah, and our goal is to unpack these prophecies aimed at several nations back then, figure out what this text said was coming for them.
See what we can learn from it. It covers quite a few players. Ammon, Edom, Damascus.
Kedar, Hazor, Elam too. It's a real tour of the neighborhood, so to speak.
It is, and it's mostly judgment, but, well, not entirely. There are twists.
Okay, let's start where the chapter starts. Ammon. It kicks off with these really challenging questions, doesn't it? Has Israel no sons, no heirs? Why is Molech taken Gad?
Exactly. It immediately frames it in terms of, well, illegitimate occupation and problematic worship.
Yeah.
Moloch, that's a heavy association right there.
Yeah, definitely has dark undertones in other texts. So what does Jeremiah 49 say happens to Ammon?
Well, it's pretty grim. The sound of battle, their capital Rabbah becoming just like a mound of ruins, villages burned, total military defeat.
Right, total destruction. But then, almost in the next breath, it says something like, Israel will drive out those who drove them out.
Yes. A direct reversal of fortunes. The judgment on Ammon is tied straight back to a restoration for Israel in that specific area.
And then the call for Ammon to mourn sackcloth, wailing.
Heshbon, Rabbah, all called to lament. It follows directly from the description of the destruction.
And it tells them why, right? Something about boasting.
Yeah, it gets specific. Why do you boast of your valleys so fruitful? And it calls them an unfaithful daughter, trusting in riches, thinking, who's going to attack me?
So pride. Pride and this sort of misplaced confidence. Arrogance, really.
Precisely. And the text says that leads directly to terror from all sides, being driven away, scattered, no one to even gather the fugitives, just complete collapse.
Okay, devastation, scattering, pride getting its comeuppance. But then comes that ending for the Ammon section.
Right. After all that, yet afterward, I will restore the fortunes of the Ammonites. Unexpected, to say the least.
It really is. A sudden pivot to hope right at the end. Okay, let's hold on to that thought. The text then moves to Edom.
It does. And again, starts with questions, this time about wisdom. Is wisdom no longer in Teman? Has counsel perished?
Teman was known for wisdom, wasn't it? So it's like saying, what happened to your defining trait?
Exactly. It hints their downfall is linked to a failure of that very wisdom. And the instruction, turn, flee, hide in deep caves, sounds desperate.
It does. And the destruction described, wow, stripped bare, hiding places uncovered, children, relatives, neighbors perished. It sounds like
The
annihilation.
language is absolute, total eradication. He will be no more.
But wait, here too, immediately after that, there's another one of those twists, isn't there? Something about orphans.
Yes. Right after saying, he will be no more, it adds, leave your orphans, I will protect their lives, your widows too can trust in me. Even in utter destruction, a promise of care for the most vulnerable left behind.
Fascinating. It complicates the picture, just like with Ammon. Then the text talks about the certainty of Edom's punishment, using this cup metaphor.
The cup of judgment. If others had to drink it, Edom definitely won't escape. They must drink it. No doubt about their deserving it, according to the text.
And their main city, Bozrah.
Ruin, horror, a curse, towns in ruins forever, permanent desolation. That's the verdict.
And nations are stirred up against them,
Yep, assemble yourselves, rise up for battle. An external call to attack.
leading to Edom becoming small, despised, a total fall from whatever status they had.
And again, the why is linked to their attitude and, well, their geography. The terror you inspire and the pride of your heart have deceived you, especially those living high up in the clefts of the rocks.
Trusting their mountain fortresses. That seems to be a big theme here, this misplaced trust.
Absolutely. And the text meets that head-on with the eagle imagery. Though you build your nest as high as the eagles, from there I will bring you down. No height is safe from this judgment.
The result, an object of horror. People passing by will be appalled, scoffing.
And the comparison it uses, I mean, wow. Like Sodom and Gomorrah were overthrown, so no one will live there. That's about as final as it gets in these narratives.
And it happens fast, like a lion bursting out of the Jordan's thicket.
Yeah, chasing Edom out in an instant. Sudden, overwhelming force.
Then that direct challenge. Who's like me? Who can challenge me? What shepherd can stand against me? Framing it as an act of untouchable divine power.
Right. And the consequences reach their livelihood too. Young of the flock dragged away, pasture destroyed. It hits their future.
The scale of the fall is huge too, the earth trembling, cries reaching the Red Sea.
It's depicted as a massive event. And it circles back to Bozrah and the eagle, ending with the warriors' hearts failing them like a woman in labor. Total fear replacing strength.
Okay, quite a picture for Edom. Then, Damascus.
Damascus next. And the fear spreads, apparently. Hamath and Arpad hear the bad news, get troubled like a restless sea.
And Damascus itself, feeble, panicked, turning to flee. That woman in labor comparison again for the pain and anguish.
Yeah, that image really conveys powerlessness.
Yeah.
There's also this sort of lamenting question. Why hasn't this city of renown been abandoned? Almost like regret mixed with judgment.
But the outcome's pretty clear regardless. Young men fall in the streets, soldiers silenced.
Total military collapse,
Mm-hmm.
and specifically fire on the walls, consuming the fortresses of Ben-Hadad, their leader or dynasty.
All right. Next up are Kedar and Hazor. This one's interesting because it names the attacker.
It does. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, he's explicitly told to arise, attack Kedar, destroy the people of the east.
And the loot is specified: tents, flocks, shelters, camels, their nomadic wealth.
Yeah, all taken. And the cry, terror on every side.
Then advice to flee and hide again, for Hazor specifically.
Right, but what's really insightful here, I think, is the description of why they're targeted. They're described as a nation at ease, living in confidence.
Without gates or bars, living alone. Like their isolation or lack of fortification made them feel secure.
Seems like it. And that very confidence, that perceived lack of need for defenses, becomes the reason they're vulnerable. Nebuchadnezzar devises a plan against this supposedly safe nation.
So their assets, camels and herds, just become easy plunder.
Exactly. And they're scattered to the winds, disaster coming from every side, widespread scattering.
And Hazor, like Bozrah, gets that grim, long-term forecast. Haunt of jackals, desolate forever, uninhabited.
Another case of permanent ruin described. Okay, that leaves Elam.
Elam. And the text even gives a time frame early in King Zedekiah's reign in Judah.
It does, and the key action against Elam, I will break the bow of Elam, the mainstay of their might.
Ah, targeting their core military strength. Elam was famous for its archers, right?
They were. So breaking the bow is symbolic of dismantling their fundamental power.
And this leads to scattering again.
Oh, a massive scattering. 4 winds from 4 quarters, scattered everywhere. It says there won't be a nation where Elam's exiles don't go. A truly global diaspora described there.
Wow. And severe destruction. Shattered before foes, disaster, fierce anger, pursued with the sword until they're gone.
And even direct divine intervention against their leadership. I will set my throne in Elam and destroy her king and officials. It's comprehensive.
But here we go again, just like Ammon after all that.
Yep. Right at the end. Yet I will restore the fortunes of Elam in days to come. That same surprising note of future hope.
Okay, so let's try and pull these threads together. We've looked at Ammon, Edom, Damascus, Kedar, Hazor, Elam. The big picture seems to be judgment, divine punishment.
Definitely the dominant theme. Delivered often through conquest and resulting in ruin and scattering. And the text often links it to, specific failings.
Like pride, we saw that a lot. Pride in wealth, pride in security, pride in strength.
Misplaced confidence, absolutely.
Yeah.
Trusting in things that, according to this text, ultimately can't save them.
Yeah.
And false worship talked up too with Molech.
And the destruction described is often so total. Ruins forever, no inhabitants, comparisons to Sodom and Gomorrah. It's severe stuff.
It is. But, as we kept noting, what really stands out are those exceptions, those explicit promises of future restoration for Ammon and Elam.
Right. And even for Edom, amidst the description of total national collapse, that specific care promised for the orphans and widows.
Those moments complicate a simple judgment equals final end reading. They add another layer.
So bringing this forward to you, listening now, how do these themes, pride, consequences, judgment, scattering, but also these glimpses of restoration, how do they offer any perspective today?
Well, I think it offers a pretty stark commentary on power and security, doesn't it? Relying only on wealth or military might or geographical advantage. This text suggests that's ultimately a fragile foundation.
That no one's untouchable, basically.
Right. It challenges that assumption. And it forces a look at what constitutes real security or stability from its perspective.
And what about that mix of, really harsh judgment and then these surprising flickers of hope? What does that suggest?
It suggests that, at least within this text worldview, consequences can be devastatingly real, but perhaps not always the absolute final word for everyone involved. There's this tension, this possibility of something beyond the ruin, whether it's restoration or specific acts of mercy like protecting the vulnerable.
Yeah, it's definitely not simple.
Not at all. It's complex.
Well, that brings our deep dive into Jeremiah 49 to a close. Exploring these kinds of texts, well, it gives us a window into how people long ago saw the world, but also into themes that, frankly, still resonate: pride, trust, consequence, hope.
Yeah. And maybe a final thought for you to chew on. Given that mix, we saw really severe judgment, total ruin described for many. Yet alongside these specific, almost jarring promises of future restoration for Iman and Elam, and that care for Edom's weakest, what does that complexity suggest about, say, the nature of divine action as presented here, or maybe about the potential for change and hope, even when things look utterly bleak?
Definitely something to think about. We hope this exploration has sparked some thoughts for you.